All right, let's get started. I'd like to call our meeting to order. I have 6:02. Thank you all for your kind patience. I do declare that we have a quorum present. The mission of Brazosport ISD is to graduate each student to the future ready. If you will please stand, I will lead our invocation, and I'm going to ask Jerry if he'll lead our pledges. If you'll bow your head. Father God, thank you just for getting to be a part of such a great district, and God, just thank you for our community. Father, I thank you for all of our staff, God, from at every level, from our administration, our teachers, all of our support staff, our hourly folks, God, just everyone who works to make our district better, God, to serve our kids. I just pray that you would have your hand upon us tonight. God, give us wisdom as we discuss the business of the district, Father, as we discuss finances, as we discuss the decisions in Austin and how they apply to us. And God, just help us to make our very best decisions, God, not for ourselves, Father, for our kids. I pray that your hand would be upon each one who's here. And Father, just forgive us, Lord, when we fail you. In your Son's precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you would join me in the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
I'd like to ask the board to make its way to the front as we transition into our awards, achievements, and recognitions time. We will now honor somebody.
Who's here to be honored? Get a runner award today?
Tell the summer.
Yeah. The wind blows. Yeah.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce our BISD Extra Mile Award recipients. Lisa Werner and Harold Nickel, will you please join Mr. Massey at the front, please? We're proud to award Brazosport Rotary President Harold Nickel and President-elect Lisa Werner the BISD Extra Mile Award for their outstanding contributions to BISD students and staff. The Brazosport Rotary supports our students and staff in the following ways. They provide student scholarships, honor each of the BISD Campus Teachers of the Year with a luncheon and money for classroom supplies, host a picnic for special needs students, sponsor and provide volunteers for the BISD Elementary Track Meet, provide dictionaries for every third grade student in BISD, sponsors of the BISD Employee Recognition Event. They support foreign exchange students, and for the 37th year held Safety Town for kindergarten students. The motto of the Rotary Club is service above self, and our very own Brazosport Rotary Club definitely is living this motto. These are the people who take action. Thank you for going the extra mile for the students and staff of Brazosport ISD. We're grateful for your support.
What y'all do, truly makes a difference.
Well, watch your step. Enjoy your trip.
I'm okay. It's our pleasure.
Do a picture with you.
Okay, yeah.
You can open them if you want.
Yeah, y'all come on down here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Look here, I'll take a couple. 1, 2, 3, and again, another, 2, 3. And now let me, unlock yours, and then I'll get it. Thank you.
I hate to ask.
I'll send it to you.
Okay. Never mind, it's okay.
We're good.
No, we can take plenty of pictures.
Should I take mine?
We can get some photos now.
Like 1, 2, 3. Again, 2, 3. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. We appreciate it a great deal.
That's all y'all do for us.
See you again.
Thanks for all you do.
Heck, yeah.
That is.
Thank you for the recognition. You're awesome.
That's it?
All right.
Yeah, I've been in the
This concludes our awards and recognitions time for this evening. Next thing that we have is to administer the oath of office to board members. At this time, in accordance with BBB Legal, we will ask Ms. Louis Cancino to administer the oath of office to our elected trustees, Ms. Liz Quayle, Mr. Chris Dunn, and Mr. Ken Schulte. Y'all will come forward.
If you'll please raise your hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Liz Quayle, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the trustees of the Brazosport Independent School District of the state of Texas,
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of trustees of the Brazosport Independent School District of the state of Texas.
and I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of its state, so help me God.
And will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
That's three of them.
I don't even have to move here.
Can you see it? 1, 2.
Kind of like graduation.
Thank you.
We were helping you all back here.
Thank you, Chris.
The next item on our agenda is executive session. Executive session may be called for the purposes permitted by the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code Sections 551.001 through 551.146, Sections 551.071, consultation with attorney, Sections 551.72, for the purpose of discussing the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, Sections 551.071, personnel matters, appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, dismissal, or complaint, and Section 551.082 for the purpose of considering discipline of a close school child or complaint or charge against personnel. We shall return quickly. Short. Quick. What up? He was not having it. All right, it is 6:17, and we are returning from executive session. We're going to start with an action item. the election of school board officers for the 25-26 school year. In accordance with policy BDAA local, the board must select the president, vice president, secretary, and assistant secretary for the term of 1 year. Do I have a recommendation?
I have a motion.
All right.
My motion is for Mr. Howard, Mason Howard, President, Scott Swartner, Vice President, Gary Atkins, Secretary, and Joe Reinhardt, Assistant Secretary.
It's been moved. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Schulte. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, that carries. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate your,
Thank you for your service.
thank you for your service. Thank you for your trust. At this time, the next item that we have on our agenda, in accordance with the local, the board put out an audience for individuals who have signed up tonight prior to the meeting. We do not have anyone who's signed up, so we will move on to our public hearing. Ms. Louie Cancino will conduct a public hearing to discuss the federal grant applications for the 25-26 school year. State law provides that a public meeting be held to discuss this topic. Public participation in the discussion is invited after the presentation. Ms. Cancino.
Thank you. Good evening. In accordance with board policy CB, local, and federal guidelines, I'm pleased to open this public hearing to share information on free federal grant applications for the 2025-26 school year. These include the Every Student Succeeds Act, also known as ESSA, which covers Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV programs. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, also known as IDEA, including both IDEA B Formula and IDEA B Preschool grants, and the Perkins Grant, which provides support for our Career and Technical Education CTE programs. To ensure transparency and community input, notice of this hearing was posted on the district's website on May 29, 2025, and published in the local newspaper on June 6. This gives our stakeholders a chance to share feedback or comments on the proposed application. For the 2025-26 school year, BISD will have 13 Title I school-wide campuses. Being designated as a Title I school-wide campus means Title I funds can be used to support all students on the campus, not just those identified as needing extra help. To qualify for this designation and receive Title I funds, a campus must have at least 40% of its students identified as economically disadvantaged. In addition, the campus is required to complete a comprehensive needs assessment, maintain a campus improvement plan, and carry out parent and family engagement activities. While both Brazosport High School with 51.9% and Lake Jackson Intermediate with 50.29% meet the 40% threshold, they are currently served through state compensatory education funds rather than Title I. District-wide, the percentage of economically disadvantaged students decreased slightly from 67.14 in 2024-25 to 64.87 for 2025-26. Title I Part A provides supplemental funding aimed at improving the quality of education and ensuring that students from low-income families have the opportunity to meet challenging state academic standards. Most of these funds are distributed to our Title I school-wide campus based on a per-student allocation. For the 2024-25-26 school year, our planning amount for Title I Part A is $2,598,354, which reflects a slight decrease of $3,444 from last year. These funds will be used to support a range of activities, including campus-level intervention support for struggling students, tutorials held before, during, and after school, salaries for intervention teachers and paraprofessionals, instructional materials and supplies to enhance learning, professional development for staff, training for teachers, administrators, and parents focused on collaboration and family engagement, support for homeless students, including supplies and services as needed, resources for participating private nonprofit schools, and administrative costs related to implementing and managing the program. These efforts are all designed to close achievement gaps and support student success across our campuses. Title II, Part A funding is aimed at raising student achievement by improving the quality of teachers, principals, and other school leaders, and by increasing the number of highly qualified educators in our schools. For the 2025-26 school year, our planning amount is $428,263, which is an increase of $9,271 from the previous year. These funds will support district-wide content specialists, including a dedicated math specialist, professional development opportunities across the district, and support for private nonprofit schools that choose to participate. These investments help ensure our educators continue to grow in their practice, ultimately benefiting all students. Title III Part A funds are used to support programs that help English learners and acquire English proficiency, achieve high academic standards, and meet state content requirements. For the 2025-26 school year, the planning amount is $140,010, reflecting a decrease of $1,750 from last year. These funds will support a variety of services and resources, including professional development for teachers, such as training in 7 steps to a language-rich interactive classroom, parent and family engagement activities, including campus events like Literacy Night and STEM Night, instructional resources, including Read 180, Reading A through C, level readers in English and Spanish, and classroom supplies, salaries for key support staff, including a bilingual paraprofessional, a district-wide parent-family liaison, a bilingual instructional coach, tutorial programs to support bilingual and ESL students. These targeted supports are designed to ensure English learners have the tools and opportunities to succeed academically and linguistically. Title IV Part A is designed to support student achievement, providing all students with access to a well-rounded education, improving school conditions for learning, and enhancing the effective use of technology. For the 2025-26 school year, the planning amount is $194,365, which is an increase of $4,658 from last year. Title IV Part A funds for the 2025-26 are being used to support student health and safety by funding health and safety specialists at Brazosport High School, Brazoswood High School, Clute Intermediate, and Lake Jackson Intermediate. Additional uses for these funds include professional development for staff, PSAT tutorials and instructional materials, support and resources for eligible private nonprofit schools that choose to participate. These efforts contribute to creating a safe, engaging, and supportive learning environment for all students. Perkins 5 funding is focused on strengthening career and technical education, our CTE programs, and helping students build the academic, technical, and employability skills they need to succeed in today's workforce. For the 2025-26 school year, the planning amount for Perkins 5 grant is $128,952, reflecting an increase of $2,856 from last year. These funds support high-quality CTE programs by providing students with hands-on experiences across all aspects of an industry through the purchase of industry standard equipment and supplies, expanding access to industry certifications, enhancing the use of technology in CTE instruction, supporting professional development for CTE teachers, and ensuring CTE programs align with academic standards and career readiness goals. These investments help prepare students for success in both post-secondary education and the workforce. The Individual with Disabilities Education Act, also known as IDEA, B Formula Grant provides supplemental funding to ensure that eligible students with disabilities ages 3 to 21 receive a free, appropriate public education as required by federal law. The goal of our special education department is to offer collaborative support services in an inclusive environment, helping all students reach their full potential. For the 2025-26 school year, the projected planning amount for IDEA B grant is $2,500,000, $591,960, which represents a decrease of $13,879 from last year. These funds are used to support qualified staff to deliver academic and behavioral instruction and intervention, assessment and diagnostic services, and support for the development and implementation of individualized education plans. This funding plays a vital role in ensuring equitable access and support for students with disabilities across the district. Idea B Preschool provides supplemental funding to ensure that eligible children with disabilities ages 3 to 5 receive a free appropriate public education as required by federal law. For the 2025-26 school year, the planning amount is $74,005. These funds will be used to support the salary of one teacher in the early childhood special education program. This support helps us provide specialized instruction and services during the critical early learning years. This is a public hearing, so I am happy to take any questions or comments from the board or our audience.
Are there any questions from the board? I'm curious why the idea dollar amounts are going down. It seems like that is going up all the time.
The amount of students that we have in our program is increasing, but the amount that we receive from the federal government is not. So what happens is one large amount, kind of like a pot, and then it gets divided over. So everybody's seeing an increase in the same population. So the amounts kind of either stay the same or went down slightly.
That was one of the push for the federal advocacy idea is
with the going well. With the present administration's take on education, do we run any risk of any further cuts in grants that he might the federal government might provide?
As of this year, for the upcoming year, no. We've already received our planning amounts. Going forward, I don't know.
All depends what the lawsuit is.
Right.
Any other questions from the board? From the audience? Any questions? All right, hearing none, then I'll close the public hearing. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
The next item that we have on our agenda is our consent agenda. At this time, are there any items to be pulled from the board members? All right, well then, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Schwartner, seconded by Mr. Reinhardt. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, that carries. Thank you. Our next item are our reports. Public comments will be allowed on each report. Our first report is the 2026 budget planning update. Ms. Cancino.
Thank you. Good evening. Today I'll be sharing updated budget figures for the current fiscal year, providing a brief overview of recent legislative changes impacting school finance, and presenting an update on the proposed budget for the upcoming year. This report reflects our continued commitment to fiscal responsibility, supporting Brazosport ISD goal of ensuring financial strength and securing the resources necessary to support high-quality facilities and educational programs. We ended the school year with an average daily attendance of 9,939, which is 147 students below our initial projection. Despite the lower ADA, state aid came in significantly higher than expected at $34.6 million. That's $16.6 million above our projections. This increase is primarily due to tax credit revenue received from the state. It's important to note that $9.5 million of that tax credit was transferred to the debt service fund. Local tax collections are projected at $75.3 million, which reflects a $4.5 million decrease. This drop is also a result of the tax credit, but it's fully reimbursed by the state. Chapter 313 revenue projections also came in strong, totaling $12.6 million. That's $6.6 million more than anticipated. Altogether, total revenue is projected at $125 million, which is $6.2 million above what we originally expected. On the expenditure side, we are right on target with $130.6 million as projected. This results in a projected deficit of $5.5 million, which is actually $6.2 million better than we previously estimated. Finally, our fund balance is expected to close the year at $38.1 million, meeting our optimum fund balance target. The 89th legislative session has officially concluded, and many bills were passed that will affect school finance. Tonight, I'd like to highlight one key piece of legislation, that's House Bill 2, and three specific components of the bill that have significant impact on state funding for school districts. First, the basic allotment. Currently, the basic allotment is $6,160 per student. House Bill 2 proposes a modest increase, raising the basic allotment to $6,215. Second, the teacher retention allotment. This is a new provision not included in current law. The allotment would provide additional compensation to classroom teachers only, based on their years of experience and the size of the school district. For districts such as Brazosport ISD with 5,001 or more students, teachers with 3 to 4 years of experience would receive $2,500. Those with 5 years or more would receive $5,000. It is important to know that this funding is limited to classroom teachers and does not apply to other staff. And third, the fixed cost allotment. This new allotment provides $106 per enrolled student to help districts cover essential, not instructional costs, such as utilities, transportation, insurance, and increased TRS costs. By design, this funding specifically excludes any use for administrative pay increases. It is strictly intended to help districts manage operational expenses. At our last board meeting, I presented preliminary estimated property values for the 2025-26 fiscal year. Since then, I revised those figures to reflect the proposed increase in the homestead exemption from $100,000 to $140,000. For maintenance and operations, the estimated property value is $12.1 billion. After adjusting for the increased homestead exemption, the taxable value is approximately $10.9 billion. The anticipated M&O tax rate is slightly higher than 68 cents. That is a 5-cent decrease from the current year. Projected M&O tax collections are $72.2 million, down $8 million compared to the current year. For interest and sinking, estimated values are $21.6 billion or $20.5 billion after adjusting for the exemption increase. The INS tax rate is expected to remain the same as the current year. INS tax collections are projected at $43 million, a $2.5 million decrease year over year. The total tax rate is expected to decrease by 5 cents, although this results in state funding through the finance formulas. Please keep in mind that these are preliminary figures and are subject to change once we receive certified property values in July. Our budget reduction considerations include $400,000 decrease in property insurance, a $245,000 reduction in workers' compensation benefit, and $1.6 million in reclassified expenses, and one-time savings of $5 million due to the change in fiscal year. Additionally, staffing adjustments through attrition have yielded $1.9 million in savings, bringing the total reductions to $9.7 million. We continue to review department budgets to identify further cost-saving opportunities, and at the same time, we are evaluating the potential for staff compensation increases, which may result in additional expenditures. And here is a summary of our preliminary budget outlook for the 2025-26 fiscal year, bringing together the key figures we've reviewed tonight. We're projecting average daily attendance, or our ADA, at 9,918, which is a slight decrease from this year. On the revenue side, we're expecting $32.5 million from the state and about $72.2 million from local tax collection. That brings our total projected revenue to $123.7 million. On the expenditure side, we're currently estimated $118 million. That total includes $9.7 million in reductions. It's important to note that $5 million of those savings are one-time only tied to the shift in fiscal year, which temporarily lowers our expenses. Putting all that together, and before we factor in any possible compensation increases, we're currently projecting a surplus of $5.7 million. This is a big improvement from where we started. Early in the process, we were facing a projected deficit of $12.6 million. That was a serious challenge, and it took some tough choices and strategic planning to get where we are now. After a few years of tight budgets, it's encouraging to be in a stronger position. With a combination of targeted reductions and new state funding through House Bill 2, we've made meaningful progress. Looking ahead, we are projecting a year-end fund balance of $43.9 million. That's about $5.8 million above our optimum target. And again, that's before we finalize any compensation adjustments. Even with recent budget deficits, the fund balance has stayed strong. That's a credit to the thoughtful leadership and steady financial guidance provided by our Board of Trustees. These numbers will continue to evolve, and we'll update projections as certified property values come in, and as we finalize our recommendation around compensation and district priorities. And as we continue refining these adjustments, we'll keep you informed with the latest updates. And here's the budget planning calendar outlining the next steps and important upcoming dates. And that concludes my presentation. Have any questions?
Any questions, Ms. Cantino, from the board?
So how comfortable are we on the 313 numbers? I mean,
They are staying at right now we have them set at $6.4 million. Preliminary, they're pretty on target preliminary numbers. I did consult with Mo Casey, and those are the figures that they recommended. We utilize for budget purposes.
You're going back down to 6 for this year, next year.
I didn't get that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're going back to the original budget from last year on those, yeah. It's at the 12.
Correct.
Are we anticipating, Ms. Neighbors, any teachers moving to districts that below the 10,000 or whatever it is, 5,000?
Not as of now.
Because
We've
they're gonna get
actually
additional-
gained some from those districts.
We're still paying more even with the,
I wouldn't say we will be behind in the later years from some of those districts, but with our stipends, it's not as big of a difference now.
yeah, so they're getting 5 and 7,500, I think it is.
4,000 and 8,000.
4,000.
And ours is 2,505.
another,
And we also have TIA too.
Right now.
We also have TIA,
Yeah.
so if we have a teacher
Yeah.
who's, on the new House Bill 2 pay plan with us, and they've qualified for TIA, I don't foresee them going anywhere.
Yeah, they're gonna stay broke up.
Yeah, staffing in general is looking really good from what I've seen as far as filling positions
Yes.
and.
Absolutely.
I know more districts are getting interested in the TI, and this is really part of yours, but, how many of our local other districts are we competing with that have any of them started?
They have started the process. Angleton should have their first payout next year.
Okay.
So in 2026, Pearland, they paid out, so they'll pay out in August. Dickinson, we're on the same schedule as Dickinson and Galveston.
Okay. Okay.
Alvin not?
Alvin is in I'm not sure if Alvin has actually paid out.
I don't think, I thought.
They're not in the same
Right.
cohort that we are, so they may be paying out this August. I do need to look into that, but
I was trying to remember, I talked to Daniel Coombs this summer, and I don't think they were ready to pay out. They were.
so they might be in
Process.
the same cohort as Angleton.
Which means we'll pay out 3 years ahead of them.
Yes.
Yeah, that, I don't know if you guys, did you all have any TIA discussions this past weekend? No?
I mean, other than just what they shared, it's some of the,
Because there's a lot of unrest about only we get them, you know, the certain teachers get them and nobody else gets them. Yeah, it is, bigger districts especially, there seems to be quite a bit of unrest, so. But
Is there any need for me to update my transcript? Coming back to the building.
Ben, what do you want to do?
you would qualify.
Yeah. I was, thought I had identified a tax rate error, but I didn't, doing the math between add the two together, I was thinking we were low, but come to find out we really are that low. We've come down, I guess we gotta be over 35 cents now. Since I think we were over 1.27 or something like that, now we're in the eights. It's unbelievable.
So this'll,
6.8.
so this'll be our tax rate in the last 7 years will be decreased 35 cents.
35 cents, that's correct.
Yeah, significant decrease.
Significant
Yeah,
decrease.
which is good. And it's,
still too high.
25%, 25% decrease.
yeah.
Any other comments from the board?
I'm sure that we'll be coming up with a way to attack this 5.7 surplus.
Yeah, we're about to get hold of
we're
that
about-
right now.
We're gonna get
It's gonna last one presentation.
Yeah.
We have to come.
Hey, we have
Shortest surplus in the history of all surpluses.
Yeah, there's a reason that surplus was for,
Sounds good.
Hold on, let's just hold the moment for a
No,
minute.
it's
We got a surplus, everybody.
Sounds good for one agenda.
You know,
One
one
agenda item.
thing about it, we can chuckle about it now, but 2 months ago, we were, there were no chuckles.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to add, Mr. President, that the wisdom of this board over the last several years to build up our fund balance. You talk about it often, how low it was when you first got on the board, and the wisdom that this board had to build it up, because it did come a time where we needed it. The last 4 or 5 years, as you know, we've adopted a deficit budget, and because of the fund balance that we had built up, we were able to continue to provide the quality academic programs and the many opportunities for our students. And we were also able to reduce staff through attrition, which I know that was a priority of this board. Also, to not have to go through a reduction in force. And so it appears that we are going to be able to recommend adopting a deficit budget and continue to give compensation increases. And so again, a balanced budget, yeah.
Deficit.
Deficit, yeah, no, a balanced budget, thank you, no, that we're gonna be able to.
How's big this next agenda item?
First time in 5 years to adopt a balanced budget, and again, to be able to weather those very difficult financial times because of the fund balance that we had, again, is a credit to this board.
At the same time, I think we have to thank folks like Rebecca, Ludi, the administrative staff that have made some awful tough decisions on some things that we have to do. But one thing about we've done, and I can relate back to about 1953 when I started the school in this district. It's always been a district aimed at high quality, and with the guidance of Mr. Howard leading the board and Mr. Massey working together with the staff, I think we've, like I said, 2 or 3 years ago, we were shaking our head. This year we got a smile for a change.
But don't lose sight, $5 million is for the fiscal year.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
That's right.
It's a good deal, but, you know, it's still.
One-timer.
Yeah, Lydia reminds me often.
And I'll keep in mind you also.
Yes.
All right.
All right, well,
Thank you.
I'm appreciative of where we are. Thank you for everyone who is putting their time and effort in to make our district run and to make it run better. So, appreciate that. All right, thank you, Mr. Lynn. Next item that we have are board committee reports. Do any of the board members have any reports?
Yeah, you should have a copy of this. I got this at the third LAC meeting on Saturday. This is from the CASB GR group. And basically, they looked at the CASB priorities on advocacy and kind of looked at the legislation, and we talked about a bunch of it here, but, you know, the $8.5 billion in new public education was nice, but it was delegated on how we use it, so it's kind of like there's no local control on that. Of which 3.7 of that was for the teacher retention, which I thought was an interesting term, so. Apparently, I think there's a committee that's gonna study teacher retention again. I mean, they implemented so many of the previous ones that I'm sure that they'll come up with something new. But, the whole gist, and basically on page 2, part of the advocacy is we're gonna probably X out the first couple there and not put so much emphasis on it. One of the things that I think you're gonna hear as the post-legislative people, elected officials come and say, hey, we gave you the money, but that's not really quite the case. They gave it to us, but they designated where it was gonna be, so. I think one of the things, this empower local communities, is where we spend a lot of time discussing it, discussing that if we want to continue, and I think it's gonna continue because we don't wanna lose sight or not have that in front of the legislature. So anyway, that's gonna come about some more discussions as we go, but that's one of the, this was kinda interesting on some of the stuff, I think the highlight, and if you look at empower local communities in the second column, I thought this was hit home very well. It did not significantly enhance the local control, so, there wasn't a lot of discussion on this last one about the flexibility on the discipline, but apparently that was hit. I mean, a couple of the districts were really concerned about that and looking at the options and things like that, so. But anyway, just thought I'd pass that along to you, take a look at it. I'm sure we'll get some more in Fort Worth, and you guys got some in San Antonio. But, again, the additions were good, but they weren't as good as they could have been. There was a lot of direction of how to spend the money and what to spend it on, so. Anyway, that's, just thought I'd pass that on to you since I was able to.
The last item down there on the second page, we were kind of concerned about the legislature did not pass any laws restricting the ability for advocacy from school personnel. We anticipated that not being there.
But Abbott just made a statement, I think this weekend concerning taxpayer-funded lobbying, and our Senator Milton has jumped on that, so even hinting at a special session, but surely they wouldn't spend all that money just for that. But never say never. Anyway, I appreciate your time listening. It was a lively discussion as usual that week. So.
Well, thank you for your efforts to attend.
Any other board members have anything to report? Ms. Cuellar?
No, that's
No?
Yeah, Ms. Cuellar, did you attend any sessions in San Antonio?
Yes, I did, and I'm proud to say I'm part of one of the best boards. I saw some of those teams over there, and I wouldn't want to be part of them.
I wanted to share a little bit about San Antonio, I mean, and really pick up where
About your room?
where Liz, y'all, we have a great board. Y'all just don't, I mean, after being with some board members and them sharing their experiences on in their district, even Liz shared one that a board of 7, it's 6-1 all the time. The one, her husband worked for the district and was let go, and so now they've sued the district. So the board member and her husband is an ex-employee, and the district has spent over $300,000 in legal fees going back and forth. Regardless of who's at fault or who's right, who's wrong, that's $300,000 that's not going to the kids, where where it goes, and just the friction at every board meeting, and I mean, that's just one of many stories. And so I forgot how good we had it. I get so comfortable with what a great team of 8 that we have, and just a great district and a great community. I'm reminded every year how fortunate we are, but it's easy to take that for granted. But, anyway, I haven't been.
All that team of 8 training we get.
I'll call that team of 8 training. Yeah. But
I mean, that short training.
That's an hour a year?
Best part about it is the overtime we get.
Yeah. I believe that common sense somehow caught COVID and has died because there's just such a lack of common sense in our world.
There is.
You go to some of the trainings and people start talking and you think surely they're kidding, and they're not. I mean, it's just.
I thought one of mine was a comedy show, 'cause I walk in and they're playing music, oh yeah, I can do this. And you know, we're having a good time, and some of the board teams say, no, we have that problem on ethics. Common sense, and just like, I
Yeah, it's, Mr. Massey reminds me all the time, just because he sees so many other districts and interacts with them, you know, more than we do. It just, I just forget how special what we have is. So, thank you for all of your effort and your time, and I appreciate what you do. So, that's all I got. So, next item that we have on our agenda, ma'am? Oh. Next item that we have is the 13A, the compensation planning update. Ms. Jennifer Neighbors, our Chief Human Resource Officer, give us her presentation. So much for that. 5 points.
Well, at least it was 2 agenda items.
Y'all do have a couple of packets that I'll refer to.
I don't have one that has a cover sheet like this one.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to present to you this evening our recommended 25-26 compensation plan. This evening, we'll be reviewing insurance and benefits updates after a comprehensive pay study with TASB. We'll be reviewing findings and taking into consideration our budget constraints, funding amounts from the state, and prioritizing employee retention while remaining fiscally responsible. We'll be reviewing for recommendation a new teacher salary schedule, including adjustments that align with House Bill 2 and adjusting the starting pay years 0 to 2. Pay structure adjustments in all pay grades to align with market. This will give us the ability to offer strong starting salaries, increase starting hourly pay, increase midpoints for alignment with market, and addressing teacher pay equity for positions that will need to move from the teacher salary schedule to the administrative professional structure. Librarians, and any positions that require a teacher certification that will need to change structures. We'll also review three general pay increase models for all other staff. We will review a 3%, 4%, 5% with costs for each. We'll get started this evening with updates for our benefits and insurance for the 25-26 school year. As what has become the trend for all insurance, our premiums will increase to the rate cap maximum of 14.9% for the upcoming plan year. We will begin open enrollment in July, and enrollment will remain open until the start of school. This week, we will begin communications with staff about plans and costs and information on open enrollment. As we mentioned last month, if we were to make any plan changes, we would lose our current rate cap and could see increases exceeding 29%. We plan to expand our partnership with Next Level Prime to enhance accessibility to cost-effective care. It will be available to all employees, which is a change for this upcoming plan year. Employees who enroll in our medical insurance plans will continue to receive the $10 contribution toward their Next Level Prime membership. The partnership with Next Level Urgent Care has not only provided quality, convenient care to our BISD family, they've added a service value of over $700,704 as of April. This amount is what would have fallen on the employee through copays and deductibles. Additionally, this is adding value to BISD as the employer, as Next Level Care never hits our medical plan claims, which helps manage our ever-increasing loss ratios. As we encourage growth of our partnership with Next Level, we hope that even more of our members will utilize this benefit, as the positive impact on our medical plan loss ratios could be extremely impactful. With a utilization of over 50%, 56% and growing, it's clear that our employees are seeing and feeling the service value when they seek care. And we will continue to watch and compare our rates to TRS, and we still don't have those. They'll be released at the end of June. On page 4 and 5 of the packet titled Compensation Plan Updates, it's the one with the notes. You'll see the charts referenced on the next 2 slides. As stated previously, insurance rates will increase by 14.9% for the 25-26 plan year. The rate increase amounts detailed on this chart can be found on page 4. Out of the 4 plans offered, our highest enrollment is in the Navigate Copay Plan for employee only and employee plus children. This plan is also where we see our highest increases. The second most utilized plan is the Choice Plus HSA plan for the employee only and employee plus children categories, and where we see our second highest increases. We currently have 960 employees enrolled in the district's medical plan. This chart, also on page 5 in your packet, highlights our 25-26 medical plan rates. It shows the BISD contribution of $225 and what the monthly employee cost will be, and what the semi-monthly or per paycheck cost will be for employees. We'll now move into our TASB pay study review. The objective of reviewing our pay systems is to recruit employees, retain employees, pay for job value, all while controlling costs or staying within budget. We started working with TASB on the district pay study review at the end of February. By April, we had some preliminary teacher models, knowing we were still in the legislative session. In May, with the legislature still in session, we presented possible pay increase scenarios of 3%, 5%, and 6%, along with preliminary teacher models. Now that the legislative session is closed and House Bill 2 has been signed by the governor, we have just enough details of what's being funded to present a compensation plan for the 25-26 assignment year. Provided is a breakdown of the House Bill 2 funding for compensation. Under House Bill 2, teachers with 3 to 4 years of experience will receive a $2,500 base pay salary increase. 5+ years of experience will receive a $5,000 base salary increase. Areas supported through a new $45 allotment formula based on average daily attendance include teachers with 0 to 2 years of experience, librarians, counselors, nurses, and maintenance teams, paraprofessionals, custodians, bus drivers, clerical staff, IT, and administrative professionals. However, House Bill 2 does not include funding for many critical roles, including principals, assistant principals, campus and district administrators. As part of the pay study, TASB selects peer districts to evaluate BISD employee compensation and pay grade data. This peer group evaluation ensures that BISD salaries and pay structures remain competitive. Our market comparisons include districts that are in our region and all within commutable distance from and to Brazosport ISD. In addition to the market peer group evaluation, TASB also references data for positions within school districts that could also be influenced by industry data. TASB also sources data from pay factors and comp analysts. This comparison might include positions related to finance, maintenance, custodial, police departments, nursing, and others. variety of experience levels among the teaching staff. Average teaching experience is 12 years, which is above the state average of 11 years. The majority, 51% of the teaching staff has 11 years of experience or more. Newly hired teachers are also diverse in experience. BISD hired 56 new teachers for the 24-25 school year, which is 7.3% of the teaching staff. 41% of newly hired teachers are new to the profession. This is the current market comparison for Brazosport ISD. While the chart shows we're below market, our surveyed areas are all 97 to 98% of the local market median. The dollar value of these differences ranges approximately $1,000 to $2,255. Something worthy of noting is we are ahead of the other districts in the area in participating in the teacher incentive allotment and are about to pay out $1.7 million to our designated teachers. BISD pays a variety of teacher stipends, and the majority are at or above market median. BISD pays a master's degree stipend of $1,000, which is even with market. Secondary math and science stipends of $3,500 or $750 above market. Special education high needs and bilingual stipends are both $1,000 above the market median for these assignments. This table includes common teacher stipends and how we compare with other districts. In addition to teacher salaries, the TASB salary study compares all other positions within the district as well. The auxiliary category overall, auxiliary positions are paid 5% below market. Pay range midpoints are 7% below market on average, and starting pay is 3% below. Overall, clerical and technical positions are 6% below market. Pay range midpoints are 3% below market on average, and starting pay is 7% below market overall. Overall, instructional support positions are paid 9% below market. Pay range midpoints are 2% below market, and pay range minimums are 9% below market on average. Professional positions are paid 5% below market overall. Pay range midpoints are 3% below market median pay values on average. Differences in duty days are an influencing factor for some of the professional positions. Campus administration positions are paid 3% below market overall. On this table, you'll see the comparison to market data for the pay groups listed and that we just reviewed. Overall, BISD strives to remain competitive. However, we experienced a slight market split as a result of not applying increases over the years. Additionally, you will see that employee pay to market for most areas has a wider gap along with the pay grades to midpoint and pay grade to market. This is comparing average salary amongst our peer groups. TASB has provided 4 recommendations that I'll share with you on the following slide. Recommendation 1 is to implement pay structure adjustments to align with market. This will result in improved starting salaries in all pay grades, and that midpoints are aligned to market value. Pages 6 through 9 of that compensation plan update packet, pages 6 through 9 in the packet show the pay grade changes and increases. You can see that starting pay for auxiliary staff has moved from $11.07 an hour to $13 an hour, and starting pay for clerical paraprofessional staff has moved from $12.62 an hour to $14 an hour. Recommendation 2 is to adopt a pay increase model to improve market position. Teacher raises comply with House Bill 2. You can find on page 3 of that same packet of the plan update and the suggested teacher schedule and how House Bill 2 was applied starting at year of experience 3. For other pay groups, a GPI calculated as a percentage of employees' pay grade midpoint. The GPI percentage was calculated from the updated or increased midpoint for all pay grade areas. We will review GPI models of 3%, 4%, and 5% for all non-teaching groups. Recommendation 3 is to provide adjustments to address market differences and maintain equity. This includes adjustments for teachers working longer calendars. CTE is an example. Our ag teachers and some of our health science teachers work longer calendars. Teacher pay equity adjustments. This is specific for positions that require certification that have been moved to the administrative professional pay structure. This would include librarians and testing coordinators, since we're needing to move them to a new pay structure. Placement scale adjustments. We will ensure employees meet the minimum and pay grades. For example, custodians or instructional support paras. These adjustments have been included in the model costs we will review. Recommendation 4 is to simplify pay practices by rolling masters and job-related stipends into non-teaching positions. They will be included in base pay. An example would be our professional special education positions: speech language pathologists, diagnosticians, LSSPs, occupational therapists, physical therapists. This would not replace the approved GPI, but in addition to, and it would help align the position with market value within the new structures. Our new proposed teacher schedule is shown here in comparison to the district current teacher schedule and market. Page 3 of the update packet and page 11 of the proposed comp plan show the full proposed schedule. The orange line represents our current teacher schedule that starts at $60,500. The blue line represents market teacher pay. We know this will adjust, but this is our market comparison for planning purposes. The green line represents our proposed teacher schedule with the new starting salary at 0 years of experience at $62,000 and House Bill 2 applied starting at year 3 years of experience. For years 0 through 2, this reflects approximately a 3% increase to the scale or the schedule. Years 3 plus with House Bill 2 requirements applied, it's an average increase of 6% for teachers. We will now move into reviewing the 3 cost models for a GPI. What we will review are models provided by TASB. This includes for each percent model the raise applied plus some adjustments. The GPI percentages were applied for all pay grades with the exception of the teacher pay scale. Our first cost model shows the cost of the teacher pay raise along with a 3% general pay increase for all other positions. The 3% is calculated from the increased midpoints on the new structures. This also includes adjustments for clerical and paraprofessional and auxiliary staff to ensure alignment with market value and structural adjustments. The total cost of the 3% model is approximately $5.3 million. Model 2 shows the cost of the teacher pay raise along with a 4% general pay increase for all other positions. The 4% is calculated from the increased midpoints on the new structures. This also includes adjustments for clerical, paraprofessional, and auxiliary staff to ensure alignment with market value and structural adjustments. The total cost of the 4% model is $5.6 million. Model 3 shows the cost of the teacher pay raise along with a 5% general pay increase for all other positions. The 5% is calculated from the increased midpoints on the new structures. This also includes adjustments for clerical, paraprofessional, and staff to ensure alignment with market value and structural adjustments. The total cost of the 5% model is approximately $6 million. Here's a one-page summary of the cost models of each model. You will see that the teacher cost is the same across all models. Due to the fiscal responsibility of the board and the management of district funds, including the work done to make needed reductions through attrition and prioritizing needs, we're sticking to our district beliefs and showing we value each and every staff member. The proposed teacher schedule and 4% GPI is favored. This is the amount that is available to stay within the capability to pass a balanced budget, while showing the board and the district values each and every employee. Teachers will receive an average 6% salary increase with the state mandated raises under House Bill 2 at 3+ years of experience. This is set and required to be implemented. The teacher costs that are unfunded in the teacher allotment are teachers with 1 and 2 years of experience and teachers working longer calendars. Our models factor in additional days when calculating pay increases to maintain equity on a daily rate basis. You'll see an increase in the admin professional area due to restructuring positions not funded through the House Bill 2 teacher allotment. Nurses and counselors had already moved to the professional structure and will now recategorize librarians and testing coordinators to the professional structure. All other BISD staff would receive the approved percent salary increase funded primarily through local district resources, along with new starting salary and hourly rates for all pay plans. This also includes adjustments to the pay structures, increasing minimum, midpoint, and maximum. The 4% is from the new midpoint of the structures. These are permanent salary increases, not temporary stipends. Anybody have any questions before we make the recommendation?
Any questions?
The move for this administrative, the librarians and the nurses, is that just, I mean, what's the basis of that?
So they are not funded through the House Bill 2 teacher retention allotment. We would have to fund them if we kept them on the teacher scale, and we'll have to fund them if we move them to the professional structure. And counselors and nurses have already moved over. They won't receive as big of an increase, but in the long run, moving to the professional scale for them could work out in their favor when it comes to compensation. I think it will be a good move.
And the cost for that is the 142? Am I reading that correctly?
Which one?
For the librarians and for those, increasing them, do we have a dollar amount?
I don't have a dollar amount that them separately. We put them into our administrative, like the
Okay.
cost to
Okay.
the administrative structure increases.
142 is zero.
The 142 was 0 to 2-year
Okay.
teachers,
Okay.
and the extended calendar,
CTE.
for CTE.
Okay.
And that was about 142,000.
Like 142, yeah.
I'm just thinking the librarians, that can't be a huge impact on that
For-
number. I know we don't know the exact
Oh,
dollar
yeah.
amount, I'm just, in my mind, I'm thinking, I mean, we don't have that many librarians, we don't have that many of those other positions. I mean, I know it's an increase, but, okay, I'm good.
I think one thing that, the last statement you made, that this was a permanent increase instead of a one-time thing, that's critical. We need to do that.
Yeah, after the.
Is there any thoughts, any ideas of this 2,500 and this 5,000 to be kept in a separate fund from an accounting purposes in case it doesn't get funded in 2 years?
Some people are doing that,
Yeah.
but in reality, you're really not supposed to with the way they've implemented it. The state does not want it implemented like it's a stipend. And when you separate it out, you're applying it like it's a stipend.
Well, just, I'm thinking for accounting purposes, just in case. I mean, 2 years from now,
Anything could
what if I give her that $2,500 increase? That was, was possible, but even though I saw the rainy day fund they kept out, so, yay, let's don't use it.
So for reporting purposes, it is pretty straightforward way it's gonna be reported is from our P submission. So they're gonna use a specific code that is for classroom teachers and 087 to identify those teachers.
Okay, so
So they are tracking it
so it is,
separately.
yeah, okay, so it, yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy to track anyway, because it's just one.
I didn't bring my calculator, so what's the percentage for the administrative and the clerical and the increase with the 14 and what's the other one? You know what that is?
Say that again.
Approximate? The hourly hourly increase from $12.62
Oh,
to
the hourly increase for
Yeah.
auxiliary in the very first pay grade is from like $11.06 to
Yeah.
$13 an hour. And for, clerical paraprofessional, it is like from $12.62 to $14 an hour.
So
Ludy can tell me the percentage.
Yeah,
Ludy's gonna give you a percentage,
He's
so
already
I'm
got
not
it
gonna
right.
calculate the percentage in my head. What's the percentage?
16%.
Jennifer, I have
16%?
a concern, not really a question.
Mhm.
With auxiliary employees,
Yes.
anytime we have an actual raise, we get into situations where we have, normally we have, let's say, 2 electricians.
Mhm.
We only have 1 right now. He gets, on, the Model 2, he gets a 4% raise. Midpoint moves up. We hire, and we've got an electrician that's been with us 15 years. Midpoint moves up, we hire a guy that, on paper, he looks like a pretty darn good electrician. But he only has 3 years of experience. Those guys make too much the same salary right off the bat.
So,
And that's, I don't know how we avoid that.
we actually have a hiring schedule that we would only use for new hires.
Okay.
That helps prevent
Good.
that, but it also will help prevent, pay compression as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can still control that, especially the entry-level people, yeah, we can still control.
We can now. In the past, we've had a difficult
Yeah,
time
right,
controlling
right,
it.
yes, sir.
And the other concern with auxiliary employees, and I don't know the solution. Like I said, this is not a question, it's a concern I've always had. There's no, with teachers, they know they're gonna get a step raise each year. With auxiliary employees, there's no such mechanism, within our pay scale to do that. And I know that on one hand, you say every 5 years or every 10 years, you may not merit that, but to have an alternative way, because retaining those people in this community is difficult as well. When you drive through Dow and you're trying to hire plumbers and electricians that, they can make a lot, and there are benefits. When I interview people, I can always explain the benefits for being here instead of at a private contractor or at Dow. But money wins way too often.
Well, and when we met with TASB to even start this, we knew that our clerical paraprofessional and our auxiliary pay, we needed to do some adjustments.
Right.
And we brought up the possibility of doing steps and stuff like that. But in the end, the recommendation was increase starting pay and using a scale to, for new hires as we start, and just monitoring basically the compression.
Right.
And then, making sure these people coming in aren't starting higher than who we have. I mean, that's not going to, we know those are high turnover areas.
Yeah.
We know they are, so.
But we pay them better and keep them longer than the districts around us. They all fight the same battle. And, we even got in the past, why are they telling each other what they make? Now, if I'm sitting having lunch with my other work buddy, I'm not bragging when I say I make $13 an hour. I'm really not, but when somebody that's worked for 20 years is making 14, it's really too close.
And
So it's tough, and that's why I said it's always been a concern.
well, and some of the cost adjustments for auxiliary and clerical professional in those areas include making those adjustments for
Yeah.
those long-term employees versus our new hires.
Right. Cool deal.
But nobody's getting blown up at BISD where,
That's-
Well, again,
Rail car
yeah, I
out
tell
of
our
the-
police officers all the time,
I'm just,
what are we gonna do with these kids? I said, none of them are armed, and they're running in the halls. I think y'all can handle it.
yeah, we can do it.
So our new starting salary, 62.5, correct?
62,000.
Oh, 62, right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, okay, right, no, I'm misread that, okay.
That's really good,
Yeah,
so
we-
I think we go back.
As part of our compensation, did we still provide, at one time, time, we were providing, a stipend for moving costs for teachers moving from 50 miles or 100 miles outside the district. Can we do that still?
We haven't provided a relocation stipend in a couple of years. If we needed to and we were, I mean, I don't wanna say the state's not in a teacher shortage, we are. I mean, we're trying to get teachers certified, but I feel like we're in a state right now, like our district. I don't, with the apprenticeship program and the retention of the quality teachers we have, I'm hesitant to say it, but I don't feel like our district is in a teacher shortage at the moment because of the teachers that we have retained, the apprenticeship programs, and so the teachers that we're growing. And I mean, like the question you asked earlier, do you think we're gonna lose teachers to some of these districts, these smaller districts that their pay might increase because they're offering $4,000 and $8,000? I don't. We've hired teachers from those surrounding districts here recently, quite a few, knowing that this could pass and it was already in the works.
Yeah.
But they also
Now, I
know if
really
they
hope
add
that
8,000
doesn't
to
change.
theirs, at 5,000 to ours, still crazy good.
Yeah.
My opinion, and it's just that, an opinion, is that money's always an issue, but money is not why most people stay.
I agree.
It's because of the people they work with,
It's the facilities, it's the
Yeah.
resources, it's their team that they don't wanna
The team,
leave, that
yeah.
they've been working with for 10, 15, 20 years.
But money is important. I mean,
yeah.
it is, but just my experience, most folks don't leave strictly because there's a few more dollars, but there's a lot of dollars, but if they're unhappy because of their morale or, their working conditions, that's different. Money is not necessarily the driving
We're
force.
7%, right, the turnover,
Yep, which is very stable.
7%.
Yeah.
We were
This year, 7% this year.
7.3.
That's half what it was when we first got on the board, it was 14.
Excluding,
That's good.
It's been
the food, obviously, the Summerfest was proof that our factories and staff get together. When you got almost 3,000 people out there going crazy, some of them brought their dogs and things like that, but, it was, I'm sorry, lady, I forgot it was you. But, that's another thing, to a degree, that's very important to be able to do that. And over the weekend, I was at a funeral of a former BISD teacher, and there were probably 75 or 100 teachers that had taught with her over the years at Food Intermediate School. And so that's, it's all a family type deal. It's important.
I still keep in touch with my kindergarten teacher that I had at Polk, and, I still run into my first grade teacher who subs in the district. So, I mean, you're right, it's more than just what we're paying them, although it does help.
I will say this, that, Coach Redden and Coach Lander are I think the last two, my hoorah, that are still around. Of course, I graduated a couple years ago, but, it's a good thing.
Right.
Any other questions, comments from the audience?
She's got a big recommendation still.
Do I hear a recommendation?
At this time, I'd like to recommend the 25-26 compensation plan actions on behalf of the Brazosport ISD administration. The recommendation is the teacher pay model that includes state mandated raises for years 3+, 4% general pay increase at midpoint for all other staff, adjustments in pay structure recommendations, which has a total budget impact of $5.6 million. $3.3 million of this amount is required by and funded by the state to go directly towards teachers. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the 25-26 compensation plan as presented.
All right, we have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
I'll second it.
Moved to accept it as presented by Mr. Stortner and seconded by Joe. Mr. Reinhardt, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, that
So,
carries.
what are we gonna do with our extra $100,000?
I was gonna It's not direct.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Nix,
you.
for your work on this.
We'll get some paper.
Thank you.
Do you need a new battery for your phone? You said about that calculator over there.
The next item that we have is on our agenda under action items is the optional flexible school day program application. Mr. Ryan.
Pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. In alignment with Board Policy EHBC Legal and Local, along with Board Goal, BISD will provide a rigorous and relevant learning experience to ensure that every student will be future ready. It's my pleasure to seek Board approval and authorization to submit an application on behalf of the Brazos Success Academy to continue operating an optional flexible school day program. Texas Education Code Chapter 29.0822 includes a provision to offer the at-risk students of a qualifying campus with attendance flexibility that reduces the impact of absenteeism and that provides for average daily attendance funding. That provision is the optional flexible school day program. The Brazos Success Academy, as a dropout recovery campus, is eligible to operate an optional flexible school day program under the Texas Education Code Chapter 29.081 E1. Students enrolled in the optional flexible school day program must take the required state assessments required under Texas Education Code Chapter 39 during the regularly scheduled assessment calendar. While attending an optional flexible school day program, a student may be counted in average daily attendance for purposes of funding only for the actual number of contact hours the student receives, up to 43,200 minutes per year. Before submitting the optional flexible school day application, the Board of Trustees of a school board must include it as an item on a regular agenda or board meeting, discuss it, and approve the application to operate the program. In addition, the Board of Trustees of a school district must discuss the progress of the optional flexible school day program before approving and applying to operate an optional flexible school day program for the next year. This slide features the report on the on-site flex program, which is the one that's housed at BSA. The Brazosport ISD on-site optional flexible school day program served 8 students during the 2024-25 school year. 6 graduated by the end of the school year. 1 student was moved to the online OpFlex program. 1 student will continue to the 25-26 school year, and no students dropped out of school. The graduation rate for 24-25 will be 75% compared to 67% in 23-24. 15,498 contact minutes is divided by 240 minutes per day to equal 64.6 days of full ADA funding, which is approximately $2,584. The district's online OpFlex option, the Graduation Alliance, is a program that provides an extra level of flexibility to OpFlex students. The program is designed to identify, recruit, enroll, and support students who have already dropped out of school to return to school and to complete the diploma online. And yes, that is a GA student who ended up back at BSA to finish, and that was a priceless moment.
Hopefully we got that picture to him. I'd like to have that if I was him.
Is that pretty cool?
Yeah.
It is.
It's pretty neat. Scared the daylights out of me. However, other students who can qualify to participate if they are substantially behind in credits, they cannot attend school because of having committed a criminal offense that make it unsafe for them to attend classes on the district campus, or who have to provide child care to a child and cannot attend school on a campus, can be included. The program also offers students who were administratively withdrawn due to excessive absences the opportunity to continue their education. This year, 42 students participated in Graduation Alliance. Of those 42 students, 7 students graduated, and 2 others returned to BSA and completed their requirements for graduation. 22 students are currently active, while 20 students are currently active, while 13 students were deactivated due to no longer actively engaging. When a student is deactivated, however, they are not dropped from the the program, and that's very important. So these students, they live pretty fluid lives. And so sometimes they'll go 2 to 3 months where they won't do any work. So they'll deactivate them, but they don't lose them. They continue to reach out to them, and we've seen several come back at one time or another and begin their program again. The Graduation Alliance enrollment team continues to contact them to encourage them to reactivate their enrollment. In fact, one of this year's graduates was a reactivated student, and another reactivated student is currently enrolled. Overall, students completed 133 courses and earned a total of 67.5 credits. Students who are currently active are continuing their work this summer. Any courses they complete and credits they earn will be added to the totals you see on this slide. Since enrolling the first student in October 2023, Graduation Alliance has enrolled a total of 57 students. Of those 57 students, 8 graduated through Graduation Alliance and 3 others returned to BSA to complete their requirements for graduation. As stated earlier, 20 students are currently active. Since the program's inception, 26 students have been deactivated due to no longer engaging, but 3 were reactivated. And students have completed 173 courses and earned a total of 91.5 credits. So that's basically over a year and a half's time. Of the 8 Graduation Alliance students who graduated by completing the program and the 3 students who deactivated from the program and returned to and graduated from BSA, 1 was in cohort 2019. That's a 7-year graduate. 4 were graduates from cohort 2020, which were 6-year graduates. 1 from cohort 2021, who's a 5-year graduate. 4 graduates for cohort 2022, and these were on-time graduates. They caught up and graduated on time. And 1 graduate was cohort 2023, who was an early graduate. And I'm going to pause there to tell you about this particular student. This particular student, in February a year ago, had 5 total credits after a year and a half in high school. He was in his 4th semester in high school. He had 5 credits. Suffered from extreme anxiety. And so the campus reached out and said, is it possible to get him involved in Graduation Alliance? And we said, yeah, let's do it. We talked to them, and they said, let's bring him on. He completed 17 credits, and he walked across the stage at the graduation. He's the early grad. Folks, that's okay, because he was headed to be a dropout. 5 were former dropouts. 1 was placed in the program due to parole probation. 1 was homeless, pregnant, and then had her child. 1 was pregnant and returned to BSA to receive pregnancy-related services and eventually graduated. 2 had failed to advance grade levels for more than 1 year, and 10 were significantly behind in credit. That's the profile of the graduates you saw that Saturday. Offering an optional flexible school day program will allow the Brazos Success Academy to provide flexible scheduling to students who work, students with children, students who are pregnant, students who only need to complete state testing in order to graduate and who are participating in testing tutorials, and students who have earned most of their credits to graduate but who no longer need to attend school for a full or half day to complete those credits. Qualifying Brazos Success Academy students can attend school at scheduled times that meet their individual needs. Those times include after normal school hours or for specific times during the instructional day. Students participating in the Graduation Alliance online program, OpFlex program, have 24-hour access to their lessons year-round. I provided you with each of the 3 parts of the optional flexible school day program application in the board book. You have the application, the Appendix 3 document that describes both the on-site and online program offerings, and Appendix 5, a spreadsheet that TEA uses to record when and where the program will be offered. Approval of the optional flexible school day program is for 1 year and can be renewed following a review by the Board of Trustees and the submission of another application. The program is subject to reporting requirements to TEA, so this year I included our annual report at the beginning of the on-site program section in Appendix 3. BSA estimates that up to 15 students will participate in the on-site program at various times during the school year, while we estimate that up to 45 students will participate in the Graduation Alliance. The on-site program will run from August 13th, 2025 to May 21st, 2026, and for students who need to complete a course they were working on the last day of school, summer school will run through June 5th, 2026, or until they complete the course, whichever comes first. Graduation Alliance will run year-round. It can take up to 30 business days to receive approval of an OpFlex application, so it's our intent to submit the application no later than June 19th. It is the administration's recommendation that the Board of Trustees authorize the district to submit an application to operate an optional flexible school day program at the Brazos Success Academy in 2025 and 2026. And at this time, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
Questions from the board?
This is not a question. I was, approached on Sunday. A guy came up to me, he retired from the district, and he said, "Tell me about this I said, BSA? Brazos Success Academy?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "The one that graduated?" I said, "Yeah." He said, I want you to know that a young man, that was in there, was headed down the wrong way several times. And it took a lot of, he said, "I'm here because it's incredibly important to me to see that he gained this, and all the things he's been through." And I will tell you that the young man he was talking about was our acrobat. He was really, pleased with that, and, he said, "You know, being in the lower levels, I never knew too much about BSA. He said, this really makes a difference in kids' lives." And I said, "You know, we're pleased with what goes on." And I'll go back to the graduation ceremony. Three things stick out with me, real quickly. Number one, Ms. Pope, in her talk, she said, she told every one of them, "You came here with a story, and you've been given the chance to rewrite the ending." That's powerful. That was very powerful. But also, the three young folks that spoke, they had some issues, and we provided something that they would never ever get. And that makes it all worthwhile.
So, does BISD do the reporting to the TEA?
Yes,
Okay, so we do it directly?
yes.
And the Graduation Alliance is funded by?
So the way the funding works with Grad Alliance is we receive funding. It's different than we do it with the on-site. With an online program, when a student completes a credit, then TEA applies 60 minutes per day to that student's credit. And so that's how it works. And then once they do that, then the funding is generated from that. And again, it's just like the other OpFlex. The 60 minutes per day becomes 240 minutes, becomes a full day of ADA, and it can be even more than that. And so they're allowed to earn during the course of the year up to 8 credits a semester for funding purposes. That doesn't mean they have to stop, but 8 credits a semester. So that works out to, on average, about 16 classes. So they're up to that. And then what happens is, okay, to answer your question more directly, then there's funding generated. Of that funding, then depending on how many students we have enrolled in Grad Alliance, the district can receive anywhere from 10% up to about 12.5% of that funding that comes directly back to the district, and the remainder goes to Graduation Alliance.
Is there capability of having more students in case? I mean, we didn't have many this year, or I guess we did.
Well, we did, yeah, because 42
yeah.
is a lot of kids.
Yeah, I was thinking about the 8, but that's.
Yeah, the 8 was for the on-site, and the on-site really varies. Last year we had 12, and it just depends on the makeup of the school. I fully expect us to be at the 15 next year because we had a very young group this year. We'll have a little bit older group next year, and then as they begin to earn their credits and wrap up credits, but are still in the testing cycle and doing the tutorials, they'll continue to come and do their tutorials a couple of hours a day or maybe less at the on-site program, as long as they do 45 minutes per day. And they work it around work schedules at that point. Most of them are working by that
So
point.
there's no limit on the numbers?
No, sir. No, sir.
And I think I asked this question before, I think I know TSA, they don't have night classes anymore, do
They do not have night classes, students just didn't come.
they? Yep.
Okay. Any other board members, questions or comments before we vote? Audience, questions or comments before we vote? All right,
I make a recommendation that we authorize the district to submit an application to operate an optional flexible school day program for Brazos Success Academy of 2025-2026.
all right, Mr. Reinhardt has moved, do I hear a second? Second by Mr. Dunn, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right.
To me, this is the same level as CTE, because of both programs, they provide opportunities.
The difference here.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Redmond.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Remember, post office may be closed Thursday, so get that out before Thursday.
If it all gets signed tonight, it goes out tomorrow. I'm ready to get it gone.
Well, you're lucky Mr. Howard's here.
Nobody needs to.
Yes, we are those two.
The next item that we have is the selection of the Texas Association of School Board Delegate and Alternative.
I nominate Mr. Atkin and Mr. Swerton.
Trustees, as a member of the Texas Association of School Boards, we are provided the opportunity to select a delegate to represent our district at the TASB Delegate Assembly in Houston on September 13, 2025. The purpose of the TASB delegate is to elect the TASB leadership, amend TASB bylaws, and adopt TASB's advocacy agenda. The Board of Trustees must take action to either select the delegate and the alternate, or determine that the district will not participate in the delegate assembly. It is the recommendation of the administration that the board elect Mr. Jerry Atkins as the Texas Association of School Boards delegate to participate in the delegate assembly in Houston in September.
I can't be the alternate, I'll be out of town that day. So if somebody else wants to be the alternate, they're.
Joe. Joe Reinhardt.
No, Mr. Dunn. I
Takes
guess.
Andy to play their name that day.
Jerry doesn't like me. Jerry doesn't want me to do it, so he just pointed at Chris.
All right, so we
Somebody want it? Us?
have,
We have a delegate.
we
so
have a
vote on that one.
delegate.
By the way, I will autograph these for anybody who's interested. I'm down for being takers, but that's okay.
Let's vote on Mr. Atkins and then we'll work out a sub. So, all those in favor? No.
I move that we, nominate Mr. Jerry Atkins as the delegate for us.
Okay. And second?
Second.
Second. So, it's motion by, Mr. Scott and second by Ken. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, you're the man. Apparently. All right, we need a,
We nominate Mr. Dunn.
we need a backup.
I nominate Mr. Dunn.
Mr. Dunn, would you be willing to be the alternative?
If he's not working at the golf course.
So it's been moved by Joe to nominate
He's retired.
Mr. Dunn as the alternative. We need a second.
I'll say.
All right, so moved by Joe and seconded by Liz. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed by nay.
I'm
All
assuming,
carried.
Cynthia got none of that.
He's in.
Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Yes, thank you very
Chris,
much.
I've been the alternate for 10 years and I've never had to go, so you're good.
The interesting part in that picture right there, that's my buddy from Dallas. You guys were talking about the Dallas school board, or mine was, and our local governor, and our AJ Crable meeting,
Oh.
and they've come a long way. And he's still around.
All right, our next
You didn't
regular,
have anything to do with this, did you? Put these pictures in?
our next regularly scheduled board meeting will be July the 21st, right here at 6 o'clock. Next item that we have on our agenda is executive session, which may be called for the purposes permitted by the Texas Opens Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Sections 551.001 through 551.146. Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. Sections 551.72, for the purpose of discussing the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, and section 551.074, personnel matters, appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, dismissal, complaint, and section 551.082 for the purposes of considering discipline of a public school child or complaint or charge against personnel.
Yes, trustees, before we dismiss the executive session, I do want to recognize one of our gifted and talented academy teachers, Lucretia Mealy, is here. So she's got the scoop on the compensation increase for everybody now.
I'll keep it a secret.
Yeah. But thank you. The reason I wanted to introduce her is her son, Terrence, is here tonight, and he's in the Scouts. And Terrence, do you mind standing up and sharing with us a little bit about yourself and why you're here? And we want to make sure that we thank you and welcome you for being here.
You can come up to the microphone so we can all hear you well.
We can put you on the hot seat, man.
Yeah.
You got 25 minutes.
Just right here?
Sure.
Sure, that's great.
All right, so,
You want a microphone, I think.
Yeah.
Even better.
there you go.
Alright, so, I just want to thank y'all for having me here. So, I am Terrence Mealy, my Troop 325 Senior Patrol Leader. So, what I'm here for today is I am attending the meeting so I can finish one of my merit badges. And a little bit about what we do in Boy Scouts is it's mostly service, but in the end it's really to actually just have fun. So, I'm trying to get my troop out here so we can do things like this more often because it's something that needs to be done. But we do service work, we camp, and we just really have fun. So I really appreciate Mr. Massey having me here so I could attend the meeting, and thank you all.
Tell everybody what your next rank will be.
Oh. So, I am about to eagle out.
All right.
Oh, congratulations. So you're only 14.
Yeah, I'm only 14.
Oh,
I'm about to be a freshman in high school.
When you get to be an Eagle, you have to come back and you really do have to give a 25-minute speech.
Don't discourage you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, young man. Thank you, Mom.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Go, Doug.
9:45, and we will reconvene from executive session unless anyone opposes, we will stand adjourned.
Martin,
Thank you.